Have you ever woken up out of bed and just had pure chaos in your head? I'm talking as soon as you open your eyes, ideas, to-dos, things that you hate, things that you love, things you want to get done for the day, things that you shouldn't get done for the day, content ideas, business ideas, you name it. It all can feel a little too much. See, all this noise is great. The problem is when we have so many ideas in our head, it's hard to know what to actually do next. And in fact, I have a friend of mine that calls it creative constipation. It's this block that we get when we have so many ideas, so many things to do, but quite frankly, I don't even know sometimes what to even start with. And here's the kicker. If you continue to let this be an issue and you don't get it out of your head, eventually it feels like you have a block. And then all of a sudden you have no ideas. And when I was thinking about this problem that I was having, it reminded me of this book right here, The Road Less Stupid. Now, we're not going to just stop there, right? So this book details out what should we do to make better decisions, know what to focus on, what not to focus on, but also to get all the chaos out of our head. But there's another tool that I just recently picked up that's actually helping me do this pretty effectively. It is called the Remarkable 2. So in this video, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to not only describe the idea of thinking time Keith Cunningham goes over, which by the way has made him a 100 millionaire, whatever you would call that. What is that called? He just made a lot of money in his business. But also how I'm going to be leveraging this tool here to not only keep my thoughts organized, but take action on them so I can actually get something done. So The Road Less Stupid. One of my favorite things about this book is not your average business book. It's actually a cautionary tale. You see, Keith Cunningham made a $100 business but lost it all, based on what he describes as really dumb mistakes. So not only did that happen, which obviously sucks, he talks about how he got it all back using this methodology he calls thinking time. So the idea of thinking time is a way for you to have all of the distractions outside of the world away from you so you can sit down and write all of the stuff that's in your head. You can brain dump all the ideas, all of the problems that you have, and then figure out which one is the most important to solve. And in fact, he gives kind of a step-by-step on how to do this. Number one is going to be to remove your phone. So no phones. He says to make sure you go to the bathroom before you get started. He says get your favorite pen. You don't want any excuses as to why you don't get distracted. Now, considering the fact that this is 2024, we have tons of distractions. We want to get on our phones. And by the way, I've personally seen this happen with myself. So I wanted to use Notion for this. Here's the problem. I get easily distracted. I mean, I'll be on Notion writing out my thoughts, and then I'll go, I should probably look that up. Next thing you know, I'm over on Google trying to figure out something, and then I'm in this rabbit hole. I'm on Reddit, I'm on Instagram, and next thing you know, it's been 2 hours, and I've got nothing done. So no phones, no computers, just simply a notepad, or again, the Remarkable 2. The other part that he mentions is not just using it for a brain dump, but doing it to solve a problem. So if you have a problem in your business or in your life you're trying to think through, what you're going to do is you're going to write at the top of that paper that one problem. What are you facing in that moment? Then you're going to simply write all of the possible solutions you can have. This dives into a little bit of divulgent thinking, right? The fact that you can have multiple solutions for one problem. And the next and final step is you go through, you circle out all the possible solutions you want to take action on, you pick the best one, and you get started. So now, here's what would happen if I'm being completely honest. I would write all this down, and this is not the first time I've done thinking time, and I would take a regular notepad, write all my thoughts down, but here's the problem with that. I would get a notepad, I would write all my thinking time, what I need to do, and it would just sit here, and I would never look at it again. Kind of pointless, I know. So I've been looking at this thing called the Remarkable 2, which feels like paper, and I know people say that all the time, and it doesn't, but I'm telling you it actually does. I've been using this to not only have my notes, but for not only thinking time, but also to upload it somewhere so I can actually go back and refer to it. So I'm going to kind of go through this process. So here's an example of my thinking time today. And the thing I like about it is, as I go through this, I can actually circle and underline the ones that I actually need to focus on. But here's kind of my favorite part about this, is that unlike a notepad, you write in a notepad, it's kind of stuck there. It is what it is. But when I use this, let's say this, for example, I come up with an idea for how I'm going to create a campaign within Keep. And let's say I'm like, I need to jam more space in here, or I don't need this to be as big. I can actually take this, move it around, make it a little bit smaller, move it over here. And then when I'm all done, best part is I can then hit this little button and I can send it to my email. So what I've been doing recently with this is I send it over to my email and then I actually drop the PDF into my Notion. So that way I can keep track of it and also add it as a task. So as I go through thinking time, and I go, all right, here are the steps that I need to take to actually get this crap out of my head and take action on it, I will create it as a task for me to do over in Notion. But this actually works really, really well for content creation as well. So I'll constantly have ideas for content, but here's the problem. Whenever I, again, get on my phone and start to type out what the idea is and how I'm gonna kind of deliver it, again, I get distracted. I'm just being honest. I'll start looking up other things. I'll go on YouTube to see if anybody else has done it that way before. And now, again, I'm kind of distracted and I'm not executing on it. So what I've been doing here is not having any distractions. I have a little content ideas folder. And here's an example of, like, for example, some short form content ideas I came up with. But I simply, not having any distractions, will just write out everything that's at the top of my head. Maybe I'll change out some things. Obviously, you can erase and all that stuff, but it's just not having any distractions is kind of the point that I'm trying to make here. It seems ridiculous to buy something like this that's just like an iPad, probably just as expensive, but can do halfway less. But I promise you, for some odd reason, it's way more effective than even an iPad. With that being said, coming back to the problem at hand, right? We have this problem sometimes with creative overwhelm. We have so many ideas, we don't know what to do with it. Having a system similar to Keith Cunningham's thinking time, where you sit down and you just don't have any distractions, you write everything out, sometimes it paves the way for better ideas. Me just doing this over the last few days, using especially the Remarkable, has greatly increased what not only I can get done, but it kind of paves the way for better ideas. Not only is the stuff getting out of my head, I'm actually taking action on it. But as always, I don't have all the answers, and this may work for me and maybe will not work for you. So if you have something that you ultimately feel like works for you, drop in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this concept of thinking time, brain dumping, using something like the Remarkable. If you don't use the Remarkable, what do you use? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.